people. So we're not testing the quick shifter today. This is a sound check to see if I can live with this infernally loud set of Kone Engineering mufflers that I got from Alex. I'm determined to give them a try again. So part of the equation of whether they're going to work for me is going to be how they, if I can get good audio while I'm vlogging, or if they overpower it. So that's what we're going to find out. And the roads are just about dry. I've got to drive up to the vet, pick some medication for the blue pitty, for Poppy. Poppy, our blue pitty, she's about 2.5. I guess she's almost 3 years old. She's got hip dysplasia, was born with it. And they were like, well, you could do surgery now, or see how it gets when she gets older and see if it gets any better, and then do it later. Either way, it's like $8,000. It's a lot of money. And I would do that for her. I mean, if you get a dog that's like 10 or 11 and starts having hip dysplasia problems, at that point you just try to make him comfortable. I can put $8,000 into a dog that's got 1 or 2 years left. But she's only just turning 3, so the doctors have got her on some medication called Galliprant, or something like that, and it seems to actually work really well. So got to go pick up that. Figured let me go do a test run. I mean, it does sound good. My concern is that there'll be times where it's just like, oh, it's too loud, or if I'm doing a HRT BT1 heartbit 1 hater harder, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out people's dumb anagrams. It means something special to them, but anyway, so we'll see if this is workable when I watch the video later. Let's see, which direction should we go? I guess I could take all the back roads instead of just droning down the little highway over there. Or would that be a better test? Yeah, let's do that. So these are Kone Engineering. They remind me of the M4 slip-ons you'd put on a Gixxer 600 or 750, where they go onto the cat box. So they're basically, they have a little tiny bit of baffling, like 4 inches of perforated core, maybe a little steel wool around it. And they sound good when you put them on that box, because the box does most of the muffling. I do kind of like the way they sound. And maybe as I'm going down the road and the wind noise picks up, if I was behind the bike, I think I'd probably hate them. Love that quick shifter. Alright, maybe these shorties will work. Someone had said, yeah, they sound too loud around the subdivision. Well, get them out on the road and they're really not that bad. And I think with the wind noise and having the helmet on, I'm trying to think if when I rode it around the subdivision, I guess I had the helmet on because I was vlogging, I think. I don't remember. I don't know if there's any performance difference. I think when you go to shorties, I mean, the opening's the same size. If anything, maybe you lose like a horsepower or a foot-pound of torque down low, but you'll pick up a horsepower up top. It's not going to be a profound difference. Just for shits and giggles, I might go take it up and throw it on the dyno up at GMD CompuTrack just to see if it made any difference. And I will make sure that we do the damn dyno run in sport mode. That 103.8 horsepower run that we got, yeah, that was in road. So we were not in full power mode. So I have a feeling it's closer to 104 and a half, 105. But anyway, I guess I can live with it. It does sound at idle a little bit like a Harley. I guess we'll put a few miles on it and see how it sounds. Yeah, so I got some interesting comments, and it's always the same mentality. So I posted up a link to some of the quick shift action. And of course you get a couple guys that are like, nah, I prefer to shift with the clutch. He's like, if I wanted an automatic, I'd get a scooter. And I'm like, what do you think a quick shifter does? Like, I still have to use the clutch to pull away from a stop, and when I come to a stop, and if I'm just rolling around town, like in a parking lot or something, you're not using the quick shifter, you're using the clutch and the shifter like you normally would. The only difference is if you want to accelerate faster at wide open throttle, or if you're loping along on the interstate and you just want to switch up a gear, and maybe your other hand, you're just relaxing or something, you just don't have to go to the clutch. That's the difference. You don't pull the clutch. You just grab a gear with your foot, which you're doing anyway. So it's kind of like the whole automatic versus manual in a car debate that everybody gets into, and because, everyone's just been browbeaten into, well, only true car fans have, got to have a manual, because that's what my grandpappy had. And it's like, I don't care what your grandpappy had. Your grandpappy, might not have had running water or electricity in his house, just because that's the way it was. Everybody has this nostalgia or misplaced nostalgia of, well, this is how things were. It's like, yeah, well, lots of things were. We used to have slavery. We used to have all kinds of stuff. We used to have people dying of cholera and polio, but technology and advances has, alleviated that, or in some cases eradicated it. Quick shifter's running fine, man. So anyway, and it's always, and it's like, at the end of the day, like the automatic versus manual, in my mind, I'm like, whatever. You like what you like. I don't care. I like what I like. And it almost doesn't matter what the reasons are, but someone's always got to try to convince you. And it's like, you don't need a quick shifter on a bike like that. It's like, well, I don't even need a bike like that. This is all based on want. When you get the people that are like, yeah, there's just something so satisfying about feeling the perfect gear shift. And it's like, we're back to the process versus results guy. There's a guy who might be going slower than my grandmother, but he's all about the process and the feeling of the shift lever coming in. And it's like, that's the experience. Like, I look at bike and I'm like, it's a means to an end. It's fun. And it's the sum of its parts. Like, it's not like, well, there's one thing. And you see that it's not just Triumph guys. It's Mustang guys. It's Corvette guys. It's everything. People just obsess on one thing. Like with the Ducati guys. When Ducati said, yeah, we're getting rid of the dry clutch. Now, I liked the dry clutch. It was different. It was interesting. It was really easy to work on. Because you just take out 4 bolts and the cover comes off, and it's right there, and it's dry. There's no oil. It's not, you're not replacing gaskets and getting oil everywhere. You just pull out the clutch pack, put a new one in, and in 10 minutes you can swap out a clutch and be back on the road. It's awesome. But when they went away, I was like, oh, I'm going to miss that little bit of sound and the convenience, but it's like, whatever. The newer clutches, the wet clutches, are better. But you had all the Ducatisti, the self-proclaimed whatevers, pissing and moaning about it. Oh, this isn't what we're used to. And it's like, yeah, it's something better. You had, when Ducati got rid of the trellis frame, same thing. I'll never buy it. I'm turning my back on Ducati. They betrayed me. And it was like, really, those, I'm not even exaggerating. That was some of the reactions. Some of the more extreme ones, but those are some of the reactions of people just, I can't believe they would do this. This isn't what I'm used to. And it's like, wait, look at the bike as a package. There's a lot of things, and that's one little thing. It's the sound, it's the look, it's the feel, it's the comfort, it's the power, it's the acceleration, it's the handling, it's the braking, it's the smell. Like, there's all these things that go into it. And when someone says something like, no, what I distill down the entire scope of what a motorcycle is and does and the whole experience, if you distill it down to the thing, and it's pushing a clutch pedal in your car, or it's pulling in a clutch lever on your bike, that's what motorcycling, that's what driving is all about. That one thing. Not the handling, not the sound, not the savage acceleration, not the comfort and the grin it puts on your face. It's about manually doing this, that hand movement, or this foot movement. That is the defining and most critical factor of the entire package. To me, is just stupid. It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, you asshole. Hey, cunt. Didn't even fucking look. Ugh. And then she just waves like, my bad. No, you're a cunt. Learn to fucking drive. That's the problem with women drivers. A guy driver, you'd pull over and you'd want to smack him upside the head, or if you saw your buddy doing that, you'd punch him in the arm. But women are allowed to get away with that kind of dumb shit and more because they're women, and, you know, women aren't held accountable. Ironically, because of the misogyny. We treat women better, and we allow them to get away with things that you would never allow a guy to get away with, whether it be getting in your face, pushing you, punching you, whatever. Guys will just take it from a woman, while at the same time, the patriarchy. That is how stupid the modern feminism stance is. They don't even realize how good they have it. You got all the benefits of being you have all the, you get the same pay, you got everything you could get as a man. You get all kinds of special protections under the law, and then you got the societal invisible force field around you that says you can pretty much do whatever you want, even physically challenging a man, and he's not supposed to do anything about it. And you get all those kinds of benefits and those kinds of concessions, while at the same time bitching about the patriarchy. God, feminists are stupid. Anyway, what was I saying before some dummy frickin' cut in front of me? Anyway, but yeah, so people just get stuck on this one thing. And it's like, I just look at it as a package. The bike is the sum of its parts. We've upgraded suspension, tuning, all kinds of stuff. And it's made the bike faster and far more capable. Which is, to me, what it's all about. It hasn't changed the comfort. It's not taking away from the drivability. It's not an automatic. It's not doing everything itself, and I'm just a passenger. But like right now, just smooth, quick shifts. I got my hand on my hip or zipping up my jacket, but I need to shift, and I just shift. Some guys are just like, no. Alright, whatever. And ironically, it's not even always the old guys, just like with the whole manual transmission thing. It's usually the young guys, the young drivers who were told by their dad, because yeah, back in the 70s, automatic sucked. So if you wanted a performance car, you had to go manual. And they've been hearing that all their lives, and so they just believe it, even though they're wrong. So it's funny watching the one guy who's retired, he's probably in his 60s or 70s, talking about all the benefits and how he likes the electronics, and he agrees with me 100%. It turns out he was a test and a development rider for the Triumph factory up until a couple years ago. So he was the old-timer, quote-unquote, out there testing these things, putting them through the ringer. How do we squeeze out more performance out of our machines while making them more user-friendly and safer? It's like people just think there's some kind of tangible benefit to doing things the hard way. Like, well, if it's hard, it must be better. Nah. If you really like churning your own butter, I guess go for it, but I don't have time for that that shit. I'm gonna go to Publix or Kroger and buy the Parquet. Actually, I like Olivio, the olive oil butter. It's really good. Better for you. But it's just funny, people have such strong opinions on things, and half the time they don't even have any experience. And if you try to get them to explain it, like I said, again, someone just says, well, I just like it. All right, whatever. It's subjective. It's like, am I going to argue with you if you say your favorite color is red? Wow. No, you're wrong. It's green. Like, that's a dumb argument for me to make. But if you're like, well, it's faster. No, it isn't. The automatics on the Mustang are faster. The car's got the same horsepower. And ironically, I saw a discussion yesterday. Someone was like, how much horsepower do I have to add to my manual transmission Mustang GP to keep up with that freaking 10 speed? And they're like, realistically, 50, 60 horsepower at the wheel. Even though the automatic eats up more horsepower. So both cars start at 460 at the crank. Oh, I love that color in the Corvette. So both the Mustang GT manual and the 10-speed, they make the same horsepower at the crank, but the automatics make less at the wheel than the manual. So people are like, oh, with the manual, it's got more horsepower. Yeah, but it's still slower. You have to add 50 to 60 horsepower to your manual just to keep up with the automatic, just to break even, to keep up with it. If you want to beat it, it's going to need to be more. Yeah, but that's the way cars, manly cars in the 70s were. It's like, dude, it ain't the fucking 1970s anymore. It's 50 years ago. It's half a century in automotive technology. Technology is not the same as it was 10 years ago, let alone 50 years ago. The world is not the same. People are not the same. This automatic, reaction of just clinging to the old ways. Sometimes the old ways are better. Maybe how people treated each other was better. Although I'd go back to the civil rights and how we treated Native Americans and slavery and all kinds of other examples. That the way people in the world was back then isn't all that rosy. That's another thing. People look back at history and they look at the good things and, the old days, man, we didn't have these kinds of problems. No, you had other problems. At no point in human history have things ever been what you would consider nice or good. You can say, well, this was better, or how we treated people was better, or, okay, maybe back in Victorian eras we treated women better. Then again, we also didn't let them vote. We didn't let them, we tried not to let them work. And we were still grumbling about losing slave, you know what I mean? So everybody just kind of cherry picks and goes back to the way things were. And that's when, men were men and this was that. Yeah, I'll give you that on some accounts. We didn't have a whole bunch of trannies running around claiming that they're real women and all that nonsense. We didn't glorify mental illness like we do today. But there's a lot of other things that, have improved. Access to information, medical technology, vaccines, communication, just all kinds of things. Automotive technology, motorcycles. Anyway. Alright. My vet is coming up on the left, but rather than cross traffic, my gas is almost out, so I'm going to go up and gas up. But anyway, hopefully I'll watch this video later. Tell me what you think from the microphone, because if I'm vlogging, that's why I actually want people's opinions on this. Because if I'm sitting here trying to vlog on this bike, doing the mountain rides and the things that people actually do watch and like, if all you hear is the damn motor and you can't hear me talking, then this exhaust ain't going to work. Or I'm going to have to come up with some kind of a better microphone setup. But I got a microphone mounted 1 inch literally from my mouth inside my helmet. So I don't know what else I would do. There's noise canceling things, but I don't know. I'll have to research it. So let me know how this sounds, if this works. Not the content of me whining about other people whining, but the audio quality of the bike. Maybe I just need a better quality mic. Sometimes I feel like if the exhaust is too loud, I get clipping with this one. So if I need to invest in a better mic, I'm willing to do that. So anyway, we'll talk to you gents later.